now. Now it's going to come up on YouTube. To mute the site. Welcome everybody that came to watch the May the 4th OSEE. Grateful to be here with you tonight. We're going to let some folks in. It'll be fun, fun, fun. Got a lot of people waiting already, so admit all. Jackie, I like the light coming in your house. I thought you were in your car for a second. It's like there's so much light. You got a side window and a back window. Cool place. Thanks for huffing on. We got we'll get started at the top of the hour, y'all. Right on time. We appreciate you guys being on time, and we want to give other folks a chance to get in. We're excited to make some donations to some good causes and have a friendly conversation about solar energy with you. But happy Tuesday. May the 4th be with you, as I say. So appreciate y'all hopping on a Tuesday evening. You could be doing anything. I'm sure all of y'all are pretty sick of Zoom at this point, after a year of only talking to people on Zoom. So appreciate you doing this. We'll have a good time.
Oh. You want us to check in?
I don't need to see that.
Yeah,
okay. but thank you.
My license.
I trust that you're you. The reason that we have people turn on their cameras, other than the fact that, let's face it, y'all have to miss people a little bit. It's just nice to see each other's faces. Is that people get so excited about this? I don't know if y'all have kids like this, but some people have kids that will sign their own permission slips to go on field days or sign their own cards. And so some kids will also sign their parents up for this fundraiser, and then they'll hop on. But the fundraisers for homeowners, all of y'all have already been verified. Thank you for being on. As soon as we do introductions, the fundraiser will be over. It's gonna be the easiest fundraiser you've done. But Self Soul Pad, I appreciate you showing your license. I wasn't paying attention. Let me rename you. What are y'all's names?
Jeff and Ellen Williams.
Hi, Jeff and Ellen. It's nice to meet you. I was thinking about y'all right before you hopped on, because you're one of the two people who said that you'd already wanted to look into solar, but you hadn't gotten around to it. Everybody else is a newbie. Y'all were in that boat, and Keith was in that boat. Keith shows up tonight. And just to let y'all know, since you're in New Jersey, not only can you save $8 a month going solar, paying nothing down, but the state of New Jersey will pay you $1,500 a year to make solar. Do y'all know about the T-Rex and the S-Rex? Have y'all heard about that?
Yeah.
So congratulations, Florida people. Y'all can get on it too. North Carolina people, there's a lot of states that are actually paying people to produce solar energy because they think it's a good thing for the world. So appreciate y'all hopping on. So I'm curious, since we got a couple of minutes, Ellen and Jeff, what is it that made y'all want to look into solar? If it's something that you thought about looking into before, what did you hear about
It's
it?
just, I like the idea of clean energy. I mean, just, that's, less carbon footprint. I like the idea of electric cars, solar energy.
Have you always been a high-tech guy or an early adopter, or is this something that's hit you?
No, it's just, I want something that my grandkids are not going to have to worry about. I'll be long gone, but they won't be.
Well,
So,
most of the time, we don't even talk about climate change on these things because it's so political that people can't hear the rest of the message. But thank you for understanding this.
well, that's you asked the question, but that's, plus being self-sufficient. We've had some storms up here. We had Sandy. People lost power for 10, 15 days.
I lived in New York when that happened.
Yeah, solar energy, I'm thinking, would have helped greatly.
Absolutely would have. And you're welcome to talk about climate change as much as you want to. I just try to steer away from it, but I'm grateful that you recognize the way we make our electricity now.
I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah, thank you. So y'all in Miami, you'll have some beachfront property if you live inland in about 40 years. So buy some property about 3 miles in from the sea, because the sea will be coming to you. Like,
Now who's talking climate change?
you got me into it now, Jeff. I work for the Norwegian
See,
company.
sorry, I
for
got it started.
yeah. No, well, it's 6 o'clock, and I promised that we would get started at 6 o'clock. And so thank y'all for being on here. If you could turn on your cameras real quick, and then we could do this fun game. I'm going to share my screen and make sure that y'all can see it. Do y'all see a page? It's got a guy that looks like me, but way too serious, then a little bow tie dude, and some dinosaurs and weird things in the background.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
a movie.
Yes.
That's me. I'm Lester. Nice to meet y'all. Luke's on here too. John's going to run the next one at 8 o'clock. So if you have friends and you're like, oh, this is nicer than I thought, feel free to invite your friends. We love doing these. We do them 6 times a week. And Luke and Holly, if y'all got a design before you showed up, we make designs for people just so you can see what solar can do for you just because you registered. Luke and Holly are the people that created it. Holly's a really busy mom in North Carolina. Has been a good friend, and you can tell she spent some time working out. I think her Insta handle is Fit Mom or something. But we're glad to have y'all. This is our team. We don't have some giant company. We have a few people on this crazy mission that started in 2015 to add as much value as possible to as many lives as possible. We've had conversations like this with thousands of people, and we've helped people go solar in 15 different states. But the point of this is to give us all a chance to come together and have a conversation like humans, because we found that most people are interested in solar. Heck, Jessica's on here, and Jessica already uses solar. She said she did when she registered. And so some folks already know it's a good thing. I'm going to do my best to not talk your ear off tonight. I prefer this to not be a presentation. You can interrupt me at any time you would like. But one thing that's really important to us here is that we start out getting to know each other just for a few seconds. And the fundraiser is not for pretending that you're interested in solar energy. The fundraiser is just for showing up, turning on your camera, and introducing yourself. And that should be over in about 10 minutes, and it can get started now. So my name is Lester. Tonight I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm originally a farm boy from West Tennessee. I went to college in North Carolina. I've lived in New York and Hollywood, and I've spent summers in Nebraska and Wisconsin and New York. I've been all over the place. And I've met a lot of people. And my co-founder, John, and I were lucky enough early on to do well at life, at the game that everybody's playing. Like, how do I work hard to get more for myself? But we both grew up with kind of poor families. So we didn't have to have very much until we felt safe enough to start giving back. And we found out that we liked helping people more than we liked making money. And so we just created this thing because there's a lot of really good people in the world who really need support. There's a lot of good communities that brought y'all here. So you are the community heroes, and the organizations that brought you here are the people that we're grateful to support. So there is no expectation of you buying anything. In fact, there's one decision to be made tonight. It is not whether or not you want to buy solar energy. It's whether or not what you learned sounds good enough to have you want to continue exploring it. And if you do, we can help you. In fact, I'll go ahead right now and drop this link in the chat box. Like, if you already know that you're interested in solar for your home and you'd like a personal consultation to get your numbers right, you can click that link at any time, schedule a time, hop off, and go do whatever you need to do, because we know that y'all are busy. And afterwards, if you hear anything where you're like, oh, that sounds really good, I want to do it, we can help you. But let's start with the fundraiser tonight. So we'll let Luke go first since he's on here. Luke, do you want to do your name, organization? And then the other thing that we say is, why do you think everybody's not using solar already? This is basically, what have you heard, or what have people told you, or just in general, what kind of questions do you have? And this will inform our conversation. The fundraiser, like I said, will be over in about 6 minutes. And then I have the next 2 hours. You can be here for as long as you want to. And I'll be here until you have your questions answered and can make a good choice about whether or not you want to continue looking into it. So did I talk way too fast? Or are you guys with me so far?
We're with you.
We're good.
Yes, that was a great response. It feels so good when people talk to you. All right, Luke, let's get it started. Let's do some introductions. I thought I saw Luke hop on. Now it looks silly.
There we go. Took a minute for my headphones to get unmuted, but I'm Luke. I'm currently in Indianapolis, Indiana, and part of the Ovanova team. So just here to support the organizations that y'all are here to support.
Thanks, Luke. Who do you want to hear from next? Let's do popcorn.
Let's do Jeff and Ellen.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi, Jeff.
Jeff and Ellen Williams. We're from Bridgewater, New Jersey, and we're here to support Legacy U9 baseball.
Are they going to Cooperstown this summer too? Or is it just a different fundraiser? There was a Union Bombers were going to Cooperstown. We helped them out earlier this year.
No, I don't think they're going to Cooperstown. I think they're going up to,
Sanford, a big
yeah,
tournament
yeah,
in Sanford.
Sanford.
Well, thanks for
Florida.
hopping on. Y'all have grandkids that play for the team or kids? Or
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
thank you for being wonderful creators.
Shortstop and pitcher.
They got some arms on them for sure. So, Jeff and Ellen, who would y'all like to hear from next?
Let's hear from Jackie. I see Jackie.
How you doing,
Hi,
Jackie?
Jeff and Ellen.
Jack.
Good. How are you guys? Hi. My name is Jackie. I'm from South Florida, and I am also a part of the 9U Margate Legacy team. And my biggest question with the whole solar is you hear if it's cloudy for a couple of days or rain, then it's not going to be working as sufficient as it would normally. So just
Here's a
curious.
quick fact for you. You stay 99% of people who go solar stay connected to the grid. So on cloudy days, you just use the utility company's electricity.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I'll show you how that works. You don't have to pay for it, which is even cooler. And I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. But your
Nice.
reliability is exactly the same. And Jeff and Ellen, I didn't ask y'all. I forgot. Thank you for Jackie for doing it right. Well, what do you think more folks aren't going solar already? Or what kind of questions do y'all have?
Well, I actually looked into it once. I had people come to do an estimate. They must have had an aerial view of my house, and they told me that I would have to get rid of 1 or 2 of my trees in the front yard because the solar panels that I would have done would have been on the roof, not actually in the yard itself. And they said I would have to remove 2 trees, so that kind of put the end of it for now.
That sounds great. Well, you definitely don't have to remove trees to go solar, but if you don't, each solar panel that's shaded will definitely produce less electricity. So you
Right.
might need some extra solar panels. And a lot of companies sell them for so much money that what they really meant was, we can't make this make financial sense because we charge so much for what we're selling, and you need extra equipment because you have shade. But
Yeah, okay.
but thank you for bringing that up. All right.
I haven't given up.
Yeah, you haven't. You made it tonight. So Jackie, you get to pick the goose this time. Duck, duck, goose. Who's the goose?
I'm looking for a name. Jessica. How about Jessica?
Hello. I'm in Land O'Lakes, Florida, and it's for American Victory, the United States Naval Sea Cadets.
Yay. What a
Nice.
great cause to support. Now, sometimes people write that they're already using solar when they have like sidewalk lights that are solar.
No, I have panels.
You have panels. So I could just shut up and let you run this for me. It would be great. But do you want to give us a quick plug about things that you were concerned about and how they turned out not to be concerns when you learn more, or anything good to say about solar?
Everything that I've experienced so far is a positive. I haven't run into any negatives yet. I have an app. I track my solar usage. I know which months I get the best usage. I know that when it's cloudy and we don't produce enough, that we go off of our energy corporation, and sometimes the bill can, fluctuate. But my bill before that was 200 plus. I haven't even touched 100.
Wow.
Well, so you guys ready to click that link and sign up now? I think that's
My bill in the summer is like $400.
Yeah,
we can do
living in
something.
Florida, I have 2 units and they constantly are going.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the deal. Well, Jessica, please feel free at any moment to interrupt me and just talk about whatever needs to be said. The reason that we give donations for people who already have solar is because it's so valuable to have you on here. I'm just I was talking to my friend today, and she used to knock on doors and sell books in college. And she told me a story about knocking on somebody's door one time, and she and the lady both just recognized how absurd it is to have somebody knock on your door, just a random stranger. And they just started laughing, and they're still friends to this day. And I bring that up because I'm just a random stranger. Y'all haven't met me. You might not know Jessica either, but she's a person in Florida, or we just paid her to be on here and you don't know that. So I guess that's possible. But Jessica, thank you. Feel free to share anything you want. Who would you like to hear from next?
Nilda.
Sorry, I was trying to mute myself. I'm Nilda Concepcion. I'm from Miami, Florida, as you can tell. I'm outside. I'm doing it for Summer Bay Academy for my daughter's school, who's actually putting in the solar panels. So this is one of the reasons they're doing the fundraiser. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, it sounds good to me. Well, do you know how to use your chat button?
Chat button. Yes and no, because I'm doing it. Oh yeah, I see it right there. Okay.
Yeah, there's a link in your chat that will allow us to get back together whenever you're done, so we can talk about how you could do it. But what kind of questions do you have? Even if they were free, if your best friend bought solar panels for you, what would you want to know before you put them on your house?
If they were free, I don't see why not.
Cool. So have you heard anything that would have you heard anything about solar that would cause you to not be pretty excited about it?
No, I wouldn't. Everything I've heard is always positive thing. I'm assuming the cost is in putting them in. That's my question, because everything else is you're saving money electricity wise. It's better for the environment, so on and so forth. So I'm thinking the cost is implementing them and putting them in. Am I wrong?
I hate to tell people that they're wrong, and you're not. You're not necessarily wrong, because you can, if you want to, pay for your entire solar up front. In which case you have no payment and you also have no electricity bill. But you are wrong in that 90+% of people who go solar do it the same way they get an iPhone. Like when you go to the iPhone store, you know how you walk out most of the time. Did any of y'all get an iPhone or a smartphone and you didn't pay anything for it, and then you walked out and you paid monthly?
Correct. I've done that.
Oh, that's how most people do solar. They don't spend a dime to get it installed. And then it just starts making electricity. And I'll show you a slide about this. Thanks for asking if you're wrong. The minimum cost to go solar up front is $0 if you would like for it to be. That just depends on how you like to make your financial decisions. Some people like to pay cash. Some people like to spread things out. But the number that we gave you, so actually, we're only halfway through this, but Luke, it seems like a good time to do it. Luke's about to read a number. And this number is what you would save, Nilda, if you and the rest of y'all went solar and paid $0 down to do it, assuming that these assumptions that we built these designs with are correct. Like y'all remember when you entered your how much electricity usage do you have on the form? A lot of times people just guess that because they're in a hurry. We had somebody that was off by $50 the other day, and it made a $9,000 difference. So the reason we have a way to get back in touch with us is just so we can get your numbers right if the idea sounds good. But Luke, can you let everybody know how much they would save on a monthly basis versus what they're paying currently for their utility bill?
Yeah, so Jessica Withers, you'd save $19.49. Tara Charong, it'd be $25.06. Ellen and Jeff would be $8.11. Oh, excuse me, $2.02. And then let's see, I'm working on my iPad here, so trying to see who else is here.
You just read it.
Philip Weiss, it'd be $29.04. And then Jackie, it'd be $40 flat.
Yeah, Nilda, yours is $25 a month. So the upfront cost would be $0. And then you would take the money from your utility bill that you don't pay anymore and use that to pay it. And the difference would be $25. So going solar actually saves you money with nothing up front. What do you think about that answer?
I like it.
That's nice.
So who do you want to hear from next? We're just about done.
I don't think we've heard from Phil. Have we heard from Phil?
I don't think so.
I'm here.
Hello, Phil. You Phil or Phil?
Hello, I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you look great.
Compared to what?
You're good to you.
I'm interested. I live in Miami and actually Miami Springs, Florida, and I'm supporting my son's Doral Academy for the Performing Arts, and that's in Doral, Florida, but that's Miami also. It's just West Miami.
We worked with the Doral
and I am interested. I don't know if I'm able to take advantage, but I'm interested. I'd like to know.
Well, I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Do you have any big questions on your mind that you've always been curious about when you see them up on people's houses or anything?
Well, there's a lot of solar around here in Miami Springs. Most of it is on updated or new construction. So I just assume that it's an expensive addition, and I haven't really seriously looked into it.
That makes sense. Phil, you'd save $30 a month if you went solar, and you wouldn't have to pay a dime to do it.
You're saying I would pay $30 less than I'm currently paying for electricity.
Well, $29.04 to be exact.
Oh, I see that other 96 cents is pretty.
That got me. Dang. Well, nice meeting you, Phil. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, right. Who else do we have left? Is there anybody we haven't heard from that I can't see on my screen?
You haven't heard from me. I'm Tara Trong. I'm from Riverview, Florida, and I'm here to support Summerfield Elementary School in Riverview, Florida.
I was talking about your school today, Tara. Y'all are getting that shade for your playground, right? Is that what they're fundraising for?
Yes. Yep, you got it.
We met the school nurse 2 weeks ago, and she said kids come in with blisters, and it's just a terrible situation. So we're really glad to support you guys. So
We appreciate it.
Well,
my husband and I have tried solar lighting, and it didn't go so well.
Yeah.
And you know, I work in the environmental field. I'm a lab manager for water and wastewater. So, you know, being friendly to the environment is something that's near and dear. So I've always been interested in it. Always thought that it was cost prohibitive and that we wouldn't be able to afford something like that. So my husband and I are definitely interested in, you know, moving towards cleaner energy and seeing if it would be, you know, a beneficial situation for us to try.
Well, that's our whole point of our service. We knew that folks were interested and they didn't want to talk to salespeople. So we tried to make it friendly and tried to make it as easy as we can. So just know that me and Luke and Holly and John, we're your Sherpas when it comes to solar. Sherpa, for those, everybody know what a Sherpa is? People that help you climb Mount Everest. But going solar is a lot easier than climbing Mount Everest. And let's talk about Tara, you're right. These solar lighting things, man, it's usually the batteries in them, not the solar, just so you know. But
okay.
But they're really terrible and they turn a lot of people off. So this is a much more heavy duty setup, but y'all came here for a fundraiser. And I want to be real clear. If you can see a cat, do y'all see a cat on your screen? If you see your cat, it means we're done with that. The fundraiser is complete. You just raised $50 for the cause that you came to support because you were the kind of people willing to take a few minutes out of your night to be curious enough to learn about something new, or in Jessica's case, willing to come educate some of her friends about something that she already has. So thank y'all for being here. We're going to use these questions to go over them, and you can let me know if I did a good job of answering them when it's done. But you should have already received something that looks like this in your email. If anybody did not receive this already, and you might want to check your spam, let us know. So, and just send a message to Luke in the chat so that we can make sure that we send it to you again. This is your proposal. This was based on what we would do if we lived in your house, or we have some new folks that are learning how to do this, so it might be a little bit wonky. But this is just a first draft. That's where those numbers come from. But if the numbers you gave us were right when you registered, then all of these numbers will be right. But tomorrow, what we're going to do is create this thing called open book pricing. Luke might even send it to you tonight if he feels like it. And it's going to have your actual numbers, and it's going to show you every dime, how much we earn. Because the reason I can give money to y'all is because we had folks, we have an installation going on in Wisconsin today, because we had somebody in Texas go solar last week, because we have somebody in North. So we use the money that we earn to give it back just because we're nerds and we really like telling people about solar. But just to be really clear, if you would like to do it, we can help you. But there's no salesperson that ever comes to your house. There's never any bait and switch. And to be very clear, it's only about 1 hour of your time tops that it would take to do everything that it would take to have all the information that you need to make an informed decision. Tonight's just about the general overall how it works. But for you, what did Jessica, do you remember how they determined how many solar panels you needed on your house?
No, they did some type of method where they saw where I was getting the best solar production, and that's where they placed the actual panels.
Yeah. And yeah, and so that's exactly right. Do you know what side, y'all might all know this. Do y'all know what side of your house produces the most solar? Which direction you get the most light on? Even if you don't have solar, you might know it. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere.
The left side?
Is that south?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's right. It's the south side because the sun hangs out down by the equator, right? And so you can put your panels wherever you want to, but we try to put them in the places that get the most sunlight because that's what solar panels do is they turn sunlight into electricity. And the number of panels you need is determined by how much sunlight you get and how much electricity you need to make. But let's just go back up here and thank y'all for making this fun. The moment you're like, okay, I got my question answered, feel free to book a time, get back in touch with us, save your time for the rest of the night. But let's start with Jackie. Jackie, are you still on here? I don't see you. That's just my screen. I'm sure you're on here somewhere. Or did Jackie leave? Jackie saw the count bounce like one. Well, let's talk about how this works when it's cloudy. We'll answer Jackie's question and y'all can let me know if we did it well enough. So here's how solar works, y'all. You stay connected to the utility company. So anytime there's not enough sunlight, like half the day we call night, you can use their electricity. But while the sun is shining, you are making so much electricity that your house can't use it all. Your house uses what you make first. Whatever is left over goes back out to share with your neighbors. Now, what happens is in a situation, so you guys with me so far? Sunlight, solar panels, house uses it, and then you put the rest back out on the grid. Is there anybody that has any questions about that? Okay. Well, this is what it looks like on a bill. This is a person, this is our friend down in Texas that helped us earn the money to give donations to y'all's causes tonight. And during the nighttime and on cloudy days, he bought $93 worth of electricity from the utility company. But then on the days that the sun was shining bright, he made everything his house needed and an extra $107 worth of electricity. So, you know, Phil, have you ever had a negative electricity bill before?
Never.
It's kind of a neat feeling. Like, Jessica, have you had any of those in the spring yet where you ended up making more than you needed? The size of your panels might be limited. You might not have as much space, but have you gotten a negative bill yet, or do y'all?
No, I haven't gotten a negative yet, but I've had like a $12 or $15 bill.
It's pretty cool. Better than a couple hundred. And so it's not just a 1 month thing. Like there's $15 that utility company owed him. Then they owed him 40. Then they owed him 24. And if y'all remember things like rollover minutes on cell phone plans,
Right.
you cash in your rollover minutes and he owed them $1 this month. But here's a graph that shows you how that works. Sometimes you make more than you need. Sometimes you use more than you make. The blue lines here are what this family is using each month in our example. The orange line is what they're making. So during this time of the year, when they're not using their air conditioner and the sun is still pretty high, they're making extra, like a chipmunk that's saving up nuts for the winter. You're saving up electrons for whenever you need them, winter, night, whatever. But the way we created your design was based on what you need to make over the course of a year. And it all levels out. And that's what we help figure out with you. And so this is something that Jessica already talked about, but you have an app that tells you how much electricity. Jessica, do you and your husband love looking at that thing? Is it like a game for you to see how much money you made today or how much electricity you made, or what's that been like for you?
We look over our comparative energy by the years, and we try to beat the year before that and the year before that and the year before that, because we've had it since 2017.
Wow. Well, that's something that Ellen and Jeffrey would probably appreciate. It's like you making even more conscious choices about your energy. But if you're wondering if like how you'll know if it's even making it, there's an app for that. And if something ever goes wrong, have y'all ever gotten a notification from Facebook or Instagram or some app, just, hey, you got a new message? You'll get a message on your phone to let you know your solar's not working, and you'll know who to call. So as far as this first question goes, Jackie, if you came back on, you can let me know, but everybody else, are you clear about what happens when it's cloudy and why you'll still have electricity? Ellen, does that make sense to you?
Yep.
So you still with me? Look good.
Yep, I'm still here.
Cool. Tara, did that make sense, or do you have any questions about it? Cool. Well, Jeff and Ellen, you told me you have to get rid of 1 or 2 trees. No, you just probably need 5 or 6 more solar panels, which is probably why in your design, it only says you're saving $8 a month. And again, because you're in New Jersey, the amount of electricity you would be producing would be a $1,500 a year check from the state, and that's guaranteed for 15 years to help you pay for your solar panels. Florida people, sorry, y'all don't pay taxes for that. New Jersey people do, but it's still kind of cool to get paid to make solar energy. So Jessica, everything you've experienced is positive, haven't tracked the usage, and we're just talking like we're best of buds. You're doing a great job. Anything else you want to add now that we've made it this far?
I mean, I know all I know about it, and I just like it. I love it.
Just keep saying it one more time. What was it? And so this is a slide I want to show y'all. This is not a question about, do I want to buy something? It's really about how you want to do something, because I'm assuming that none of y'all want to become Amish, right? You probably would have already done that. And the reason I bring that up is because Amish don't use electricity. But is there anybody here who doesn't anticipate having a refrigerator forever? Like, if we have a refrigerator in our future, it means that we have an electricity bill in our future. But when technology changes, it makes new things possible. So if you're like, what does he mean I'm going to save $20 a month? That's what this slide is for. Because if you're not going to make your electricity yourself, where do you have to get it from? Where do y'all get your electricity now?
From the electric company, or I don't use lights and I burn candles.
Your refrigerator will work on candle power?
No, but I barely use my refrigerator. You can see I was only going to save $2 a month. Jeff,
Right, you do a great, yeah.
Jeff and I are old school. You have to remember, see, when you get our age, that means you went through bad times. We went through the 70s. We know about
17% inflation, like
we know when we first bought our first home in the 70s, the interest rates were 21%. So you all that have mortgages at 3%, when we went to first buy a home, it was at 21%.
Woo. If you have a 3% mortgage, you ought to go refinance it, because that's way too high. Like, it's crazy. But my parents were like that too, Ellen. They ended up paying off the house in 7 years just because they hated how much interest it was. They're like, we can't stand this. We want to pay it. So let me show y'all whenever I've been saying you will save this much money, what it means is this person here, let's pretend you're spending $127 a month on electricity. Well, if you can make 100% of what you need yourself, how much do you have to buy from the utility company?
Pretty much nothing.
Right. Now, Jessica's in a situation where she can't quite make 100%. So that's why she has a little bit of a bill left over. But everybody on this call can produce 100% of the electricity you need from solar.
I'm not sure I'd do that up in New Jersey with all the cloudy, yucky days we have here.
Well, our software said you could. You just need some extra panels.
There you go. Okay.
And so this is $127 what this person was spending. It's like having chickens, right? Because if you have chickens and they lay eggs for you, you don't have to buy eggs from the grocery store. And if you have solar panels that make electricity for you, you don't have to buy electricity from the electricity store. You just use the money that you were already going to spend and make a payment instead. Now, it might have been more expensive in 2017 when Jessica did it. It's been about 4 or 5 years. But with our program, every one of you on here has a number on this side that is lower than the number on this side. Solar is not something that requires extra money, because you use the money you were already going to spend on electricity and just make a solar payment instead. The difference is that your solar payment, like if you don't go solar, your electricity bill doesn't increase the value of your home. Jess, have you had your home appraised since you got solar to see what the value and the appreciation was, or?
Well, because of the market right now, it's
no need. Yeah.
No need. Yeah. Because everybody wants what they want and they're willing to pay what they want to pay. So
yes. Well, long term, if this heated real estate market doesn't last, solar will add value to your home, which makes sense.
Yeah, it does, as long as you have comparables in the area with solar on top as well too.
Yep. And so another thing about solar to think about, y'all, is a normal investment doesn't eliminate a lifelong monthly payment. If you wanted to pay cash for your solar, you don't have an electricity payment anymore, other than whatever the fee is to stay connected to your utility company. So you can sell them the electricity back whenever you're overproducing and get what you need when you're underproducing. Normal, do y'all know about the tax credit? Has anybody told you about the federal tax credit for solar? Whenever Jessica did it, it's 30, it was 30%. You know, now it's 26. So whatever your price for solar is, like this is how much it costs if you don't go solar. This is the price for the same amount of electricity if you make it yourself. And the federal government will actually give you a 26% tax credit for the entire cost of the job. And if you need a new roof, the 26% tax credit applies to the part of your roof you put your solar on. So that's just a cool thing to know that Uncle Sam, now in New Jersey, you got the state government to help you, but everywhere else, you have the federal government, because this is something people are doing. You know, the people are starting to realize that the way we make our electricity, blowing up mountains to get some stuff to set on fire, to put some carbon in the atmosphere, to boil some water, to spin magnets, really doesn't make that much sense. I have a question for y'all. Have any of y'all cut the cord yet on your cable? Have any of y'all switched from cable to normal?
Yes.
Yep.
So why did you do that?
Tired of giving them unnecessarily large amounts of money.
Agreed.
And so what did you find out you could do instead of giving them large amounts of money without?
I can stream everything.
Right. So you get the same thing you want. You just pay a lot less to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Solar energy is just like that. You get what you want, which is electricity. You just pay less to do it. This isn't about buying, it's just about switching if you want to. And again, everybody on here would save money by switching, at least through our program. And nobody said this, but I want to show you how pretty they are too. Solar panels don't look like this anymore, where they look like checkerboards. They're all black now. Looks more like a skylight on top of a house. If you don't want it on your house, you can get a pergola. If you have like a real hardcore HOA and they make you comply, you can even camouflage them nowadays.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, because I live in an HOA that's pretty stringent. So there's other things we can do if they say absolutely not to the roof.
Yep, there sure are. Like, again, pergolas, which might even be more difficult than the HOA. Here's some good news though, Tara. The Supreme Court has said that an HOA cannot stop you from going solar. But what they can do is they can make you do things like get permission from your neighbor to make sure that they can make you do things like not use the most optimal roof face, which is a bummer, but it's like,
right,
you can't look this way. But that's part of our service, is we will do with you any part of the work that needs to be done outside of requesting the form and sending in the form, because we don't live there, so the HOA won't talk to us. But we help people with that all the time. But if you have an extra special Darth Vader HOA that is stronger than the US Supreme Court, yeah, you can even get camouflage. You're like, okay, I'll make it look just like my roof. You take a picture of your roof and they put this stuff on top of it. Cost a couple grand. Decreases the efficiency of your panels, but it's made to match the color of your roof. This is a tile roof, this is a white roof, but those are solar panels. And
Okay.
for those of y'all involved in communities or work, there's some real neat stuff that I just met a guy today that has these. We've never had anybody put these up, but the rest of these we've helped people build, and we're grateful to do it for anybody. So that's pretty much the things people want to know about. How much does it cost? Do y'all, anybody know how long the warranty is on solar panels nowadays? How about 25 years, 2.5 decades? And the reason they're guaranteed that long is because they were invented in 1954 by Bell Labs in America. And so Bell Labs needed to find a way to get electricity way out in the middle of nowhere. And so they invented solar panels to be able to do it. And the first ones still work because there's no moving pieces. They degrade.
What's the maintenance like?
What's that, Tara? Oh,
What's like the periodic or the routine maintenance that's required on the solar panels, Lester, if there is any?
Great question. It's about the same as a pet rock. My friend John, he has solar on his home. I live like Jesus. I just hop around and go wherever. I don't have a home other than wherever somebody's willing to let me stay. And so, but John at his house has done like he got pollen all over his panels recently, and then it rained and it washed it off as soon as the first rain came. And what he noticed is that the production difference wasn't enough to make it even worth spraying it off with the hose. But if you're like a super clean, organized person, Tara, and you like to squeeze every bit of energy, you can hose it off. You can pay a high school kid to squeegee it off if you want to be like super clean. But unless you live on a dirt road, you probably won't have an issue with what you're doing. But instead of asking me, let's ask somebody that already has them. Jessica, what kind of maintenance have y'all needed up to this point?
Only when something I see isn't working right or my production is low for some reason, I make a call. They test all the circuits. If there's something going on, they'll send somebody out, they'll fix it, and that's it.
Yeah, same thing. But in terms of like general maintenance, like do you ever spray them off or?
No, it rains a lot here in Florida.
Yeah. So Tara, the rain is enough, most likely. And so
we get torrential rain, so it's enough.
Yes, it is. So does that answer your question about maintenance or?
Yeah, it does. And then another question, being in Florida, is how does that work for like during hurricanes and things? So yeah. Are you still able to produce, like if there's a massive hurricane and everybody's without electric, are the solar folks still producing to run their homes, or is just the whole grid down? How does that work?
Well, you are still producing electricity, but you won't be able to use it.
Okay.
This is the reason why. After a hurricane, the power lines go down, and and you hope that the electricity company is putting them back up. So if you're producing electricity and putting it back out on the lines when somebody's working on it, can you see anything that might go wrong in that scenario?
Yeah, they can't. So they take the whole grid down probably.
Right. You don't want to shock somebody's mom or dad. But
right.
So here's the big caveat. However, and this is if you go solar without a battery, what I just said is true. That even if you have solar, you won't have electricity because of safety for the workers on the line after a hurricane. However, have you ever heard of a generator?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The equivalent of a generator with solar is a battery. So instead of having to put gas into a generator, you can just hook your battery up in 4 milliseconds. It's 4 1,000ths of a second. By the way, it takes a hummingbird 16 milliseconds to do one wing flap. So in a quarter of the time it takes a hummingbird to flap its wings, your energy will be back on when the grid cuts off. And instead of being filled up with fuel, it's filled up with sunshine. So if you have a battery, yes, you will have power after a storm. And every day you will have access to your power from your solar panels during the day. But instead of sending it back out to the power lines, it will be filling up your battery for as long as you need it to, indefinitely, as long as the sun comes up. You know, because sometimes after a storm, you can't even make it to a gas station, or the gas station might be out of gas. So a battery is like a much better version of a generator. The only bad thing about hurricanes is, like, first of all, you can't even get a permit to put solar up until it's hurricane resistant. The county where you live, like in New Jersey, Jeff and Ellen, what we'd have to engineer it for is the weight of snow, because the weight of the panels plus the weight of snow is what New Jersey cares about. Miami cares about hurricanes. And so we have to look at, like, what is the wind speed required? And that determines how many times you have to fasten it to the house. So, but if they do blow away, it means your roof is probably going to go blow away too. And they are covered in your homeowner's insurance with your roof. And if it's just one or two that fly away, solar panels themselves aren't that expensive and are pretty easy to fix, you know, if there's something that needs to go on. So not to gloss over that, a lot of people usually have questions about hurricanes. If you want power after a hurricane, you can do it with a battery. You do not have a battery option in what you've already been sent, but Luke and I tomorrow will send you this thing called open book pricing I was telling you about. And at the bottom, can y'all see that tab at the bottom where it says battery options? This shows you your battery options. And this shows you the different sizes of batteries. Here's something I haven't told y'all yet. With our service, you pay what we pay for the, it's wholesale. Like, so this battery, instead of spending $18,000, it's $8,000. And that's the number that you'll see right there. You'll see how much we earn, which allows us to continue to provide our service. Whoever this is an example from somebody at Sobe that we made anonymous. This person would allow us to give donations to 40 more people and have conversations like this. Like, the reason that we're able to give money away is because people use our service to transition to solar, but we make it transparent. We had to start doing this because our prices are usually there was a guy in Texas recently who saved $50,000 versus his Tesla quote for a big system and batteries. So our prices are so low that it makes people wonder if they're getting ripped off. Like if we forgot the solar panels in the price, or if we forgot the labor in the price. So we do this so you can see everything. You see what we earn, you see what the project management costs. This means make it very easy for you so you don't have to do anything. Did y'all know, like, Jessica, how long did it take them to put your solar up? Like, once all the permits were taken care of, I know the permits can take months, but when they actually came out to your house that day, was it a 1, 2, or a 3-day job, or do you remember?
It was a 1-day job.
Yeah. So isn't it crazy? Were you kind of surprised by that your solar panels could be installed in just a day and they weren't going to be around in the kitchen, like making dust?
Yep.
So just so y'all know, this is an easy process. This is not like a challenging thing. This shows you how much the workers get paid. If you've heard about those good green jobs people are talking about, this is one of the things they're talking about, because these people would be earning, for manual labor, doing something that's good for everybody in the world and a little bit of skill, almost $1,000 a day. We don't make any money from this. If you have a brother or a sister or an uncle who's an electrician, they can do your job for you, or we can teach you how to do it yourself, and you can save that if you want to. And then this is how much all the different equipment cost. And there's even a thing at the bottom called the Imperfect Information Fund, which is just saying, until we actually get deep into the project, there could be stuff that comes up that we don't know about. And we'd rather start with a worst case scenario price. So the savings I gave you earlier is based on your worst case scenario price. But what do you think happens if we end up spending less than we projected and we don't have any extra expenses to take out of this? What do you think we do with the money?
Donate it somewhere.
You know, Ellen, that's what so many people started to say, that we've started to ask people if they would like to donate it, but we actually give it back to you. And then if you want to donate it, you certainly can. But most of our customers get, $1,500, $2,000 back when it's done.
Got it.
But we'd rather under promise and over deliver than to have to come back and say, oh, we found this rafter that needs support. Oh, you need a main panel upgrade, and now we need some more money. Because doesn't that just bite? You know, it's just not fun when you're haggling all the time. So we start with the very most expensive thing. This is also our best offer. We don't negotiate. You're welcome to get other prices and see that I've told you the truth about how inexpensive ours is. If you find a better price, let us know so we can partner with that solar company in your area. But this is just, that sounded real salesy. Sorry about that, y'all. This shows you your tax credit. This is a thing that you can play with over on the side. This shows you your different loan options using our loans. You can use any loan that you would like to. I don't know why those numbers are on the template, Luke. So you want to go change that if they're not gone already. And then this is the price per watt. This is what most people use when they're selling solar to figure out how much solar costs. So this scenario for this person, it was $2.30. After the tax rebate, it was $1.71 for a standard option. And then for a battery option, they're looking at $267 after their tax rebate and $360 before to keep the lights on after hurricane. So sorry to go into that in such depth. That might be boring, but we'll create that for you tomorrow. But the variable in here is how much electricity you use. And we're basing that just on the numbers that y'all shared with us when you registered. Like when we get back together, it's not a sales pitch. It's not like, hey, now that we've got you a loan, let us twist your arm. It's like, hey, now that we've got you a loan and we won't bore everybody else to death, let's look at how much electricity you actually use. And let's put that number in there to figure out how many panels you actually need. But those were some really good questions. Tara, thank you for asking that. Was that Tara asking the questions or was that Nilda? It's been so long ago. All right. Nilda, Phil, it's expensive to not do it. And the longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes because every month you spend hundreds of dollars that you could have gone towards paying off your panels. Tri-solar lighting, for sure. Those are crappy little things. We talked about that, but it was a good try. Appreciate that. And I don't see any more questions anybody has, but that doesn't mean that more didn't come up. So I'm going to kick back and just ask y'all, is there any other reason you can think of that would make it where you wouldn't want to continue exploring? Like, is there anything I've said or done or anything, any question you haven't had answered before you'd want to like just continue finding out? I'm not asking you to buy solar. I am inviting you to continue learning about it. And
how does it work if you because obviously when you put this in, if you're not paying for it up front, you're pulling a loan to and then paying on a monthly basis.
Right.
So I'm assuming if we were to sell the house at that point, we would just pay the loan off in full.
That's
or
right.
we would have to work the price of the panels into the sale of the house to get that money to pay to satisfy the loan.
That's correct. Just like if you
Okay.
put a pool in and the pool hadn't been satisfied yet. So, but the cool
Okay.
thing is like, check this out. Let's say that this was your situation. $38,000. What this is the value of your solar panels, because that's how much electricity they'll create if the price of electricity never goes up. Like, so just based on today's dollars, if you're spending $127 a month over the warranty period of your solar panels, this is what you would spend. But if you spent $14,000 after your tax credit, and then you paid it off for a few years, and let's say you've paid it down to $10,000, and you still have $35,000 worth of guaranteed energy left, then there's a $25,000 difference that you could ethically and logically have somebody pay for it. Because there's 25,000 extra dollars worth of electricity in between what you have left and how much it's going to produce. And that's why it's really easy to do. But yes, that's exactly what you would do. You just pay it off whenever you move. Or what a lot of people do, instead of using the loans that we have, we don't make any money from the loans you choose. We want you to choose the best financing for you. One of my friends I talked to today has a HELOC loan, and somehow he has 1% interest. And so they decided that, well, not this family, but a lot of family, he was just a buddy I was talking to about his real estate. But knowing that there's 1%, 2.5%, 3% loans out from your real estate, a lot of people will borrow money on the equity in their home, pay for their solar panels, and then they know exactly how much they need to charge because it's already in their mortgage. So if you do a refinance, then
Right.
your new
Okay, that
mortgage,
makes sense.
yeah, it's your mortgage and your electricity bill.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the extra value besides just the logical value is that you've done this. Y'all just spent an hour learning about solar energy. It'll take about another hour to actually cross all the I's and dot the T's or vice versa to be able to access solar energy. This is not a hard process for y'all. It's just making sure that we get what you want. Do you want batteries? Do you not want batteries? Did your HOA say we have to use the other side of the house? Do you need some solar skin? Like, that's the stuff that we have left to talk about. And after that, you can have as much time as you want to get as many quotes or do whatever you want. We just did this to make it easy for people who already wanted to do it and didn't know where to go. And we're trying to do it as a friend. So I say all that to say this. If your house already has solar, people like solar. People will pay for solar. And it's worth even more because you've already gone through the perceived trouble of doing it. Like, if people knew that they were losing money every month by not doing it, we wouldn't have these fundraisers. We'd have people lined up out of the door, getting in line to increase the value of their house, help the climate, save money. But you've already done that. And so that's another reason why your home value goes up. That was a long answer to a very simple question, but did I do a decent job of explaining how that works?
No, that totally makes sense.
Thank you. What other kind of questions do y'all have? And on the thing you'll get, you can see the different loans that we have, and you can just enter the number of terms. Like, when you open this up, you'll see, here's the different credit ratings. You do need a 680 credit score. Most homeowners have that. If not, take a couple of months to get it up. And then the rate, you actually get another quarter of a point off. So the rate is 4.49%. This is the number of loans. So it's 252. And the actual rate is 4.49 after you take that auto pay off. And so that's why that number is there. But you can use those numbers to figure out, would you like a 5-year loan, 10-year loan, 20-year loan, or whatever. So contact you later time to continue to explore. Thank you, Jeff and Ellen. How'd it go? Thank you for the information. Have a great night. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you very much. Contacting you because we're interested. Thank you, Jackie. So I'm just reading the chat now to make sure I got everybody. Who else is on here that has anything else that you'd like to talk about? Thank you for the work you do for the environment, by the way. I think I was talking to Tara.
Thank you.
And then it's actually just me, you, and Luke. We scared everybody else away. So you've got us real special right now. Do you want to see your design? Want me to?
Yeah, actually, if you have time, yeah.
I've got another hour. We stream these live on YouTube. So I can do one of two things. I can go make your address anonymous, which will take like 2 minutes, or I could just open it up and pull it on here. Would you prefer to have anonymous information?
No, you can totally just pull up my address. I'm not like, I work for a public entity, so like my life is public entity, I feel. So yeah, you don't have to hide it. That's fine.
So, cool. So let me bring this over here. So hello, YouTube crowd that's never made it this far. So does that look like your house?
Oh yeah, that is my house, but I'm assuming you have solar panels put on there.
Yeah, that's
so yeah, yep, that is my house.
Okay. And so this is your home. We put them a little bit higher up on the house so that, no shade of any sort gets on it, but it doesn't make any difference. If you prefer the aesthetic of setting it down lower, we can do that. But the reason that we chose 53 panels is because our software, which I can also open up and show you if you would like to make this different. This is how many panels it would take for you to make 100% of your electricity.
Okay.
If you use $200 a month. But if you use $220 a month, we probably need to slide these things down and put another row of panels. If it's 230, so do you happen to be have any idea or an easy way to access your actual annual kilowatt usage? Because if you booked a time to move forward with us, that's the very first thing we would do.
Yeah, I don't have the login to that, but my husband does. And so that's something that we could look up relatively easy if when he was like, if he's around.
Yeah, if you see him, oh yeah, so he's not around right now. You're just talking about.
Well, he just pulled into the driveway and he's unloading his car.
Perfect timing. Well, I have an hour and 5 minutes. I'm not in a hurry at all. But if you need to go help him unload the car, there's also a link in the chat where you can where you and he can get back together at a time that's a little bit more comfortable for you.
Okay, yeah. You know what? That's probably a good idea because I can talk to him about what we talked about tonight, and then him and I can look up the kilowatt usage per year. Because I know that we fluctuate lesser like quite a bit, like throughout the year. There are months that we are below $100, and there are months that we are like $350.
Y'all must really like air conditioner.
So, well, during the peak hot months of the year, like when my family comes to visit, they're New Yorkers, so they come to Florida and they're like, you need to put your air on because it's stifling here. So yeah, so it's all over the place, but we can definitely look that up. And then I can talk to him about the determination of whether we would want to go with a battery. And I would assume that we would need to make the size of the battery dependent on what we would feel we would want to run if we were cut off from the grid.
You're so smart. Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, my husband is an environmental engineer, so he would probably just be able to run some quick calculations of, the major things that we have electric wise inside the house that we would want to run.
Perfect. Yeah, we're looking for some really good engineers. So if he ever wants to change his career, let me know. We can use people that can do better jobs of doing the engineering for cities. We had a job delayed for like 2 weeks because an engineer couldn't put a stamp on a page. I'm going to show you.
I believe it. Most of his job is he works for municipal clients. So I believe it.
You know it. Yeah. It's just.
And I know it. I work it every day. I deal with the bureaucracy on a daily. I work for municipality, so I deal with the bureaucracy and the conundrum daily.
Well, at least we have an insider in the office now. I know who to call when we need to pull some strings. So let me go over with you this pure estimate just to show you how much sense going solar makes. And then let's reconnect at a time that's comfortable for y'all.
Okay.
So we can get the numbers just right. Because if you're with that much variation, a $50 difference in your average bill can make a $10,000 difference in how much it costs to go solar.
Okay.
And one way or the other. So this is the total kilowatt. You're going to get this, and Luke will send it to you. I'll text it to you as soon as we're done. But that's 16.96. This is what we would earn if you use our service to go solar. We don't have sales commissions. We have money that we earn to keep giving money away to good causes and having fun conversations like this. So thank you for supporting our cause if you choose to use us. This is what it costs to make it really easy. That's all the project management steps. There's like 20 steps. Actually more like 40 steps for project management. That involves, and a lot of this your husband might be able to do himself. He's already an engineer. He might get a kick out of doing the engineered diagram for his own home. And if he does, then you could save money here. Like the engineer, like this is just to make it turnkey from us. So you don't have to do anything because you have a busy life, but we can totally make this a la carte because your husband has special skills. So if we don't have to spend $500 for an engineered drawing, that's a $500 you save. Batteries are a little bit more challenging to engineer, so they're $500 more for the project management. Electric and building contractors, again, this is what the actual people doing the installation earn. And there'll be a licensed, bonded, secured.
Okay, that was my next question. Licensed, insured, bonded.
All the stuff. Like
what is the rating, Lester, on the is the hurricane rating on the panels, is that determined by building code, or do your panels like have a general rating? Or
yeah, the equipment itself has a rating. Like for instance, this type of the stuff that holds it to your house is called racking. It's like what goes into the rafters and holds it on. And the racking that we've been using recently can withstand, not sustain, but for like up to 15 minutes, a peak wind of 170 miles per hour, which is above level 5, which is why I said your roof will blow off, and you can Google pictures of it. You'll see pictures of like roofs blowing off and solar panels still setting on top of them.
Yeah.
So what's more dangerous is the debris that's flying that fast, and it could break a couple of panels. But as you can see, the panel itself is only like $120. So once it's already in place and it just needs to be replaced, there's nothing to it. It's
okay. It's similar to it. I would assume it's similar putting it back to like a shingle, where my husband's replaced single shingles before. So
I want to steal that example from you. That is a perfect example.
Okay.
Like, in fact, except for it might even be a bigger disparity than that, because shingles, you don't have to run wires and you don't have to like hook it all in. You just put them on. Whereas with this, it's easy. Like John, the guy in the bow tie from the beginning, he went over to one of our customers' houses 2 weeks back because there was a defective panel. And he said it took him 10 minutes to put it on. But your husband, being an engineer, with one YouTube video or one call to us, could certainly learn how to put a solar panel on.
Okay.
And then the panels themselves, this is what 53 panels would cost. If you didn't get a battery, you would want to go with these things called micro inverters. You can save money by using a string inverter, especially in a situation like yours. I'm getting wonky and technical here, but the reason you can get that, but the reason we recommend this is because it complies with the safety laws that are required to shut it down after a storm. And it's also guaranteed for 25 years. What it does is it takes, I didn't really show people this page, but there's 25 shingles. What were we just talking about? I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, rapid shutdown devices that you not only need solar panels, you need an inverter because your solar panels make DC power. Yes, the future is here.
What?
Hello, future.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Uh-oh. What about Holly's a mom? That face you just made reminds me of Holly with her kids sometimes. So I won't keep you too much longer. But the point is that the other thing that you need is you need to be able to turn the DC energy into AC in order for your house to use it. And there's options for how you do that. This is an option because it's a simple option. It's not the option that you have to choose, but that's what it would cost to do that. This is what we anticipate it would cost for the racking.
Mm-hmm.
This is to ship it because it's heavy. A lot of times it costs less than that, so you get it back. You combine our boxes, combine all the wires, cabling, that's just that stuff. And the Imperfect Information Fund, in your price, we have $2,500 built in that we probably won't have to use. I mean, just looking at your house, it looks pretty new. I don't imagine you have termite damage. I don't imagine that do y'all have a 200 amp breaker? Do you know?
I believe so. Our roof was actually just recently replaced in I think it was replaced in when was that? Maybe 2019. We put a brand new roof on.
What great timing. Have you ever thought about the fact that solar panels protect your roof?
No, I never really thought about that.
Yeah, most people think they make it leak, but really is they protect it from sunlight. You will need less air conditioner because you'll have a shade on top of your house. So, like for instance, here's a teacher in Tampa who went solar with us recently, and her panels, you see how there's a little air gap underneath them?
Yep.
That breaks the sun from hitting your house directly and heating it up, and the air dissipates the heat because air is not a good conduit of heat. And so this actually makes your house smaller. And also, if there is a storm, you whack your solar panel instead of your roof, and then it goes through it. So it's like having a hard hat on top of your house.
Per se, yeah. Okay.
And so that's another neat little thing that most folks haven't really thought much about. And that's it. So for if you paid cash and this was actually what you needed, keep in mind it could be off by several $1,000s. We'll find out what you need when we get back together. It'll be $38,409. And that would be for energy that's worth $60,000. So you would effectively be lowering your energy cost by half by paying for it up front. Most people don't do that. Most people take out a loan, like you were talking about, for as long of a term as possible, so that the monthly payment is aligned with their current utility payment.
With the utility bill, okay.
Because this is the money that you use to make this payment. You don't go make an extra $200. You don't have to take on a second job to get an extra $200. The $200 is what goes to pay for your solar payment. And then your savings are here. And this is after the tax credit. Now, here's something that's cool about the tax credit is that most people use the tax credit to pay off or to pay down their loan, but you don't have to. Without the tax credit, your monthly payment would be $235. So if you wanted to just have $10,000 to buy a boat with, you can keep your payment the same. You know, in 10 or 11 years, the price of your electricity is going to go up, whereas this is still going to be the same.
Right.
And then you could spend the $10,000. But since you don't get the 10 grand unless you go solar, that's why we use this as the number when we're calculating the savings, because
Right, because most people will just put it back into the cost of the system.
that's correct. And so this
Okay.
means every month you've got $25 that you can go see a movie with if the movie's ever open back up. Well, I guess you're in
If they ever, yeah.
So that is and here's all the different, these aren't all of your options for panels, but these are some of your options. Like if your husband, he's going to be fun to talk to if he's an environmental engineer. He might already have an idea for exactly which solar panels he wants or what he's looking for or what specs he wants. We can get literally anything. So if you wanted like high-end solar panels, which you don't need them because you have plenty of space on your house, but if you're both about to buy Teslas and you are going to need all the space on your house to make some extra electricity, that's when you might want to upgrade to a panel that creates a little bit more per square inch. But that's 100% up to y'all. And it's what we'll talk about when we get back together. So, let me send this to you real quick to make sure you got it.
Yeah.
Or Luke, have you already texted, Tara?
I did get an initial estimate in my email. Actually, I think I got it this morning because I had opened it up and looked at it briefly.
And this is, I didn't go over your battery clearly with you. So here's what's different on the battery option. And Luke, if you can send this open book pricing to Tara and then text it to her as well as a link to book a time to get back together. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and pick a time. And before you forget it, you know, we go to the dentist, life gets busy, kids come home with grades you need to talk to them about. So if you already know that if what I've shared with you makes it seem like it's worth learning more about and potentially moving forward, my suggestion would be to pick a time. And if you need to change it, it's super easy to change your time.
Okay.
Just to get it on the calendar because we're a small team. So here's what's different about the batteries. Project management, $500 more.
Okay.
Rest of it the same. You don't use micro inverters, but you do need this plate, this thing called a rapid shutdown device. That's just for fireman safety.
Mm-hmm.
All that's for. You would use a different type of inverter that is the same kind, the preppers, you know, the people that believe the world's about to fall apart. This is what they use. It's a little bit more expensive, but what it allows you to do, if your husband's an engineer, he'll love that we've set this up this way because it's a DC transformerless system that allows you to use as many batteries as you want to. And if you need more batteries later, you just plug them in. It's as simple as hooking up like a car battery. So you're set to grow in the future if you need to. And like I said, it starts working 4 milliseconds after the grid kicks in. So you could turn on 4 times by the time a hummingbird flaps its wings. And then this is the price of the racking and wiring is the same. That's the same. Batteries are heavy. So it costs a little bit more.
Yeah, it's gonna cost to ship them, yep.
And it costs a little bit more. We pay the guys $2,000 to hook them up. So the people that are getting paid up here to do the job would actually earn an extra $2,000 if you got batteries, because there's a lot of safety stuff and protocols that have to be followed. But that's the only difference. Other than that, it's the same. It all works the same. Financing is easy as applying for a credit card if you choose to use that route. And you have under an hour of decisions to make, and we will go as slowly as you would like to go. And then this is the, let's see, checklist. So after we get your design right, the process, the design that you want, the number of panels you need, here's the process, just so you can be aware that it's not that much to it. Let me find it. So this is where you are right now, the initial design, open book pricing, and then hopping back on a personal Zoom consultation. You and your husband together. How many panels do we need? That's what we're going to figure out when you bring your exact kilowatt usage.
Okay.
What equipment do you want? Well, we'll talk about your future energy usages, and we'll make a great decision for you. We'll give you the information you need to make a great decision for you. Then you can decide how you want to pay for it. Again, that's up to you. But this part can take years. This is where people get stuck because they hear about it, they think about it. And that's why I'm saying, go ahead and book your time. Luke's going to send you a link so you can do that.
Okay.
But then this part, pictures and engineered drawings for permits, HOA support if necessary. If they try to be a pain, we'll be glad to.
I'm
to
trying
help.
to I'm sitting and I swear to God, I was out on a run earlier and I swear there is a house that has panels somewhere in this neighborhood. It's just not in and around my house at this point, but I swear I saw. So I know that they do allow it.
There's just might be some hoops and we'll jump through those like a show.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a hoop for anything with our HOA. So.
And so this is why this says 3 weeks to 4 months instead of like 1 day. Like
Right.
there's really no reason your solar couldn't be up by the end of the week without Cedric. And so then we'll pick your contractor. Like we already have the contractor we would use. But if you have one you prefer. Sorry about that. It's my dog going crazy. If you have one you would prefer, we can use that. Like so if you've had an electrician that you've done stuff with before, no problem. You don't really need a solar installer. You need an electrician and a roofer. And in Florida, you technically do need a solar installer. It's a different type of license. But as far as the people who do the work, the real work, it's an electrician and a roofer. And we can pick those out together. But if you like it turnkey because you're busy and have things to do, you don't have to deal with any of this. You can be like, I trust you. We have a contract. I'll sue you if you screw me. So, or y'all have been nice and you haven't given any reason to doubt you. We'll pick our own contractor. Then the equipment gets shipped either to the electrician or to you, whatever's more convenient. And then it's installed within 1 to 3 days, really quick, exactly, like we heard about earlier tonight. And inspections, then you have inspections and you know about that. You work inside the world of that. And then once your inspections are complete, your system is activated and you start moving towards a negative electricity.
Who activates the system? Is it activated by Ovanova or is it activated by Tico? Because we have Tico Energy here.
It's Tico. But so the exact, to get a little bit more granular about this, there's 2 inspections. There's an inspection from your county to make sure that it's actually that we didn't skimp out on the number of screws we use so it would blow away during a hurricane. And that every county has their own stuff. Lakeland, you're not with Lakeland Electric by any chance, are you?
No, I'm Hillsborough County.
You said Tico already, duh, Lester. So yeah, but Lakeland's real like, you forgot to put a comma after the 3rd paragraph on page 7. So we're going to reject this type stuff. And so it's your county to make sure that it's actually installed the way it was designed to be installed. And then Tico comes and they just put the new meter in because whenever you go solar, you get this meter that can count both directions. so it can keep track of how much you're sending to your neighbor, so you can get
Right.
credit for it, and then how
Okay.
much of theirs you're using, and it all like evens out.
And is that cost for Tico to do whatever they need to do? Is that already budgeted into the,
What I gave you is the worst case possible scenario pricing for absolutely everything it would take. You're-
okay,
Like, that is it. Like, there's, and you don't even have to deal with it. Like, that's why we're here. We just guide you through it.
okay,
But at the end of the day, it's not a challenging, arduous process for you. It's very, very, very simple, except for maybe the HOA part, but we've dealt with HOAs all over the place, and I'm sure that we can help you, especially if you went running and you saw some panels somewhere anyway. You can-
I'm pretty sure that I did earlier when I went out for my run. So I'm fairly certain that they allow it. It's probably just you have to position them this way and they have to be XYZ colors or something.
Yeah, and we can 100% help with all that stuff. And so, but yes, the short answer is that includes your panels, your warranty, your labor, our part, for the monitoring, the activation, the new meter, all the fees, the permit fees. Like, you don't do any of that.
Okay,
Like, that is, this price is completely turnkey, and our service is to add as much value as possible to as many lives as possible. So if you would prefer to not have a turnkey solution because that serves you better, and your husband wants to become a solar panel installer, a homeowner can do whatever they want to their home. Still needs a permit, but like,
Right.
you could save if you chose to. What is it? $8,000 plus part of the operations budget that we didn't do. If you wanted to put them up on your own, most people don't. Most people have their own jobs. And since they're already saving money doing it this way, they just want it to be as easy as possible. But I don't want to confuse the customization part of what we offer with complicated. Like, we have,
okay, all right. Well, I got the links from Luke. So I'll talk to my husband and then we can I'll reach out when we're available to chat some more.
I cannot wait for that. I can't wait to meet your husband too. Don't be too rough on your daughter. She didn't mean to do that bad in school.
Oh no, she was bringing in something for school that would mean that I would have to put in more effort, like dress up on this day, this day from now to the end of the month. So, and I'm just I'm at my overwhelmed point of I can't remember to dress you in a mix match and, XYZ. So yeah, no, they're both pretty good with, my older two are in school. They're really good with school. My little one is still running amok somewhere. She's only 4. So.
Well, let me not talk your ear off because your time is limited, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again. Is there
All
anything
right.
else we
Thanks
can
a
do?
lot, guys. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah. Thanks for showing up to support
All right.
Awesome Cause.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yay, that was fun, Luke.
Yeah, that was fun.
What'd you enjoy?
I'm having.
We're still on YouTube. You want to tell me what you liked about that and what you didn't like about it?
I thought a lot of people got involved from the get-go. I think you're probably setting the tone when everybody was showing up and you were just chatting with Ellen and Jeff, and they were really cool couple, as well as just really great people that came on, to be honest. It's always fun when you have a good crowd.
It's always great when you have somebody that's already using solar and loves it too.
Yeah, exactly. She was cool.
What else? John's going to run the second one. Thank you. Did you have fun today connecting with people?
Yeah, it was a good time. Found out my old host family does goat yoga now.
What?
Yeah.
I know what goat yoga.
Well, they had 3 goats when I lived there, and then they just got 8 more. So now they have 11 goats.
Wow.
It's a lot of goats.
I guess we need to get some more goats at the farm and start doing goat yoga with them. Is that where you just do yoga and the goats climb around on you while you're doing it?
Oh yeah. They're fun, man. They'll chomp your fingers off. Have you ever tried to feed one?
My aunt used to have goats, and like it was terrifying. Buttons was that goat's name. It would chase me around and bite me when I was little, and I'm still a little bit scared of goats. We had them out at the Regen Center.
I know.
For the fire.
Don't really want to bring that up. Yeah.
So
It was
that's not real
it
dark.
was sad watching those old OCs, and John would show up and just be like,
He was like depressed and sad.
yeah. Did you see that last message I just sent you?
What did it say? Or do you want me to turn this?
Well, I was just saying I'd Calendly up if you wanted to be like, I don't know. I would have said something along the lines of,
what time would you like to get back together? Like, do you have a
be
time?
like, hey, like one of the things that I enjoy about going to the dentist is they tell me when I need to come back.
It's the only thing I enjoy about going to the dentist, but that part's very convenient. Yeah, we have to
Exactly.
we have to make it easier for people to sign up. We have a technology gap. There are 3 people who said this looks great. I'll be in touch. This sounds good. And one place we are absolutely failing people is that we're not making it easy enough, especially for people who aren't good at technology. So that is a very good suggestion. It's so good, in fact, that I would suggest that you make it to John before the next one starts if he's not still watching this and learning himself. So is there, I want to watch the next one on YouTube and be off. Is there anything that I could do to be useful for you right now, or anything the team needs?
I'm having trouble just sending out the text messages afterwards, just because I'm kind of going back and forth between having everything on a iPad that has service and then a laptop that I'm using a hotspot on. So it's like,
Got it.
Yeah. So that's I was trying to do that. It's just taking forever to load.
Got it. Well, okay. I think the question was,
So if you'd want to do that, Trey had set up a text that we could send. And it literally it's just sending like, thank you for coming on to support X organization.
You know that automatically goes out 30 minutes after it's over, right? You don't need to send it.
Does it really?
Yes. So
Okay, cool. So we don't have to do that.
no, but we do need to look at what that says and make it easier for people to hop on.
Yeah, make sure it's the right link.
Yeah. Like maybe that's what's been going on. That's going to be funny if we just had a busted link. People couldn't connect to this. Like,
yeah, people were just signing up for a time we had no idea.
Yeah. Like, sorry guys. Yeah, we're really great. We gave some money. That part happened. We taught you about solar. That part happened, but we can't help you do it. Like, it'd be like the worst thing ever. There's like, it reminds me of a movie where you got some nerd. He's about to get a kiss from the girl. And then she like just turns around at the last minute and decides not to do it. Like, that's kind of what we're doing to people. Like, we're like the really pretty girl, not to call the people nerds out there and not to be too gender exclusive in these things.
Well, we're not actually doing that. It's just the possibility that we have no idea we're doing it.
Yeah, like it would
for the Facebook fans out there.
Yeah. So for the fans that are watching, they'll be fans eventually. We need an intro to the show too. Like, welcome to the Ovanova Solar Exploration Experience. We're about to talk to people from all over or something.
I mean, that's what the video that with like the montage video could be.
That's
you know what I mean? It's just like just a 3-minute like introduction video of just like I said, just you walking through the woods and just looking like you're about to talk about some hippie stuff, and then all of a sudden it's just, so Lester, what is Ovanova? And then you just go, well, and it just goes into the montage.
It's a monkey time. Yeah, like I like the idea. It's like, here's what other people have said. Here's what other people have said. Like, here's what other people have said. Like, y'all aren't the first people to show up and think that solar is expensive or that a hurricane would make it blow away or that it'll be hard to sell. Like, that's good, right? Like, don't you like it when you have a problem and you realize that? I know that I personally, if I had a problem, prefer to be able to Google it and know that I'm not the first person to have that problem. Wow, I didn't make any sense. That's just a bunch of words. All right, good luck.
I was trying to nod my head, but no, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. What else is in the chat? Luke Kelly pulled up. Oh, yeah, I didn't get it. That's it. All right, I'm going to hop off. Anything you want to tell to your fans, Luke? You'll be doing these before you know it.
Howdy toddy.